Shalom Yashrala, this your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here article as, prophecy is running out in real time as we speak, in a matter of days, you know what I'm saying? These things are taking place. All right. It says vaccine ID card, not ticket to football or restaurant. Tory MP assures as Britain's reluctant to take jab fear coercion. All right. So nevertheless, we're getting into the times where, these phases are being implemented, which ultimately going to lead to the mark of the beast. All right. So it says, and if you don't know, they're going to be issuing out these, for the people that the first people to get these vaccines, whenever you get these vaccines or whatever, whatnot, you're going to be able to get a identification card, which is going to let people know, that you got this or whatever, whatnot, more or less like a passport. All right. Which also is a part of, they call demonization and public shaming of people. All right. Because why? You'll have, in some places they were talking about wearing a bracelet or an armband so people could walk around visually seeing who has this and who doesn't have these things, So if you're walking around, it's just like with those MAGA hats, when people are walking around with those big red MAGA hats, other people can walk around and just and disgust about those people. All right, so this is how they're gonna, use to try to coerce people into trying to take these things because they know they want to be accepted in society, man. All right, you have this society that's built off of social media and the hive mind and massively following trends and things like that. If you don't have an iPhone, you're such a so on and so forth. Or if you don't have a Snapchat or a Twitter, so on and so forth, they pretty much, disown you from society. All right. And this is going to be used the same way with these things. All right. But also you have to understand problem, reaction, solution, the Hegelian dialectic. All right. First, they have the solution. All right. Which is the mark of the beast. All right. So they create a problem. We have the pandemic. All right. The reaction, people are going to be asking for some type of help or safety. All right. They implement health or safety measures. All right. First phase was the mask. But then there was a problem with that. Everybody got tired of wearing these, going on around this and that and so on and so forth. All right. Well, we need a better way because we can't just all go to, certain places, certain times without these situations. Or we have to limit the number of people that's in certain situations. You still have a big population that's afraid. All right. Well, we'll give you basically a jab. All right. Well, with the jab comes this identification card. And we already know that, anything like this can be manipulated and forged and whatever, whatnot. So just like in the beginning where they were saying, we got these exemption cards from being tested, people were falsely printing out. Same thing is going to go in here. So when the people cry out, hey, this isn't a safe system, and everybody's making up their own cards, we need something better. All right. Well, here comes the solution, the mark of the beast. All right. So let's go ahead and read through this article briefly. It says, as the British government prepares to roll out these jabs, Tories are expressing confidence that unlike some other programs, it will be done right and that skeptics will not be forced to take it to re-enter society. Hey, if they got a sure shot way of doing certain things now, why weren't they doing these things beforehand and everything else that they rolled out? If like, what I'm saying, all of a sudden, at the drop of for instance, the stimulus package that just went out, they were always having so much problems funding this and funding that and coming up with money for this and coming up with money for that. But at a drop of a dime, they was able to write every taxpaying American a paycheck at the drop of a whim, But all of a sudden now we could do this perfectly now. But beforehand, you didn't have no money for that, or like they was talking about reparations. Oh, the American government just don't have enough money to pay out, anything, whether it be $100 to every single so-called black person here in America. We just don't have that kind of money. It would be absurd for us to try to come up with that money. Well, you basically just did the same thing, came out of nowhere with the money for it. And then not only just the so-called black people, you paid every taxpayer. All right. So, hey, why all of a sudden you can get this right, but you can't get everything else right, man? All right. In reality, the government gets exactly what they pay for, man. They don't pay for anything that is not 100% correct, man. If you have poor education, that's because that's what they pay for, man. All right. It says, let me read this last line again. It says, Tories are expressing confidence that unlike some other programs, it will be done right and the skeptics will not be forced to take it to re-enter society. All right. They say these things now, but all of a sudden, hey, well, certain situations are requiring this. All right. Just like how, they tell you that, the government can't infringe their roles or whatever, whatnot on, privately owned businesses and things like that. Oh, well, we can't reach in and determine what these like, for instance, the government can't reach in and tell Walmart what they should be selling water for, milk for, whatever, whatnot. They have laws against that. All right. But then at the same time, the government pushes out certain things or whatever, whatnot, that mandates that all these companies follow suit. But then they're going to play that same role again. It's like, well, we can't stop companies, all right, from denying you entry without having this proof, or deny you from coming back to your job without this here proof, And we don't have any control over. These are private businesses, It says the first batches of the Pfizer BioNTech jabs will be distributed over the weekend as Britons prepare to start immunizing frontline workers and vulnerable people against the pandemic on Tuesday. The stockpiles are enough for 400,000 people, but the government says it has secured 357 million doses of 7 jab candidates. Pfizer products and many other require 2 jabs to work properly. The NHS will hand out standard bank card size cards to people who receive the jab, suggesting that they should carry them in a wallet. The card will list the name of the jab, batch number, and the date that the recipient got their immunization, as well as a reminder to take the second dose in due time and some tips. The jabs will details will also be stored in the NHS database along with the patient's personal data, right? But then again, you're going to have these hacking problems, right? And fraud, all right, which is going to call for a more secure system, all right? With the rollout looming, there is concerns that the government will not be able to deploy vaccines without controversy. Nevertheless, hey, let me show you one of these little witchcraft shit that they be doing, right? So it says the vaccines detail will also be stored in the NHS database along with patients' personal data, right? So again, going into the problem, reaction, solution. Let's just say all of a sudden, you own a media source, like a media outlet, and you also own a gun store, right? But you got slow sales in the gun business, right? And you can't, hey man, if you make another loss for a month, all right, you're going to pretty much be out of business. So because you own the media as well, what do? You create stories or whatever, whatnot, to put a need into people's minds that they need to go out and go buy guns. Oh, crime is raising up. You have people looting, people breaking into homes, and so on and so forth, and so on and so forth. And now everybody's going, because they see this here new need, all right, they're going to go out and they're going to start stockpiling on these here guns, even though that they ain't seen nobody in their neighborhood getting these types of situations or whatever, whatnot. But because it was painted in their mind that they needed something, i.e. they went out and got it, man. All right, i.e. this is how the new iPhones always sell, man. All right, because you get the same damn update on the older phones, but then they make you believe that you need the newest one, the most updated one, because it has this many pixels or whatever, whatnot. Like, yo, at a certain resolution, the human eye don't even really see this high, but they created this here new need inside of your mind. All right, continuing on. It says, with the rollout looming, there's concerns that the government will not be able to deploy the jabs without controversy. Critics say it has botched some aspects of fighting the pandemic, like procuring personal protection equipment or setting up contract tracing systems that fear what will happen with the jabs. So the conservative politicians are going all out to reassure the public. I'm confident that we will actually deploy this well, MP James cleverly told Talk Radio on Monday when he was asked about previous blunders. He said that the jabs will help unlock the British economy while also protecting lives, and that he and other officials strongly encourage people to get it, out of, how do I say, when they're trying to offer you peace and safety. You can get back to your normal life, because they've been flooding you with the new norm, and everybody wants to get back to the so-called norm. All right, that's a dire need that these people have been put into their minds. So, hey, the first sign of us being able to get out of this here situation that the government's provided for us, where we don't have to think about it ourselves or have to depend on a higher power for, we're going to go ahead and take that because we just trust them to do everything for us, It's not like they don't have a bad record or certain things, If you, as let's just say you as a female or as a male, heard about the opposite sex, let's say as a man, you hear about this here woman, she's nothing more than a gold digger, and she always lies about the people that she with and get all these rape charges on them or whatever, whatnot. She's a meth addict and steals all your stuff or whatever, whatnot. You hear all these stories, you think you're going to go over there and date this here person? No. Because why? The reputation that they have or whatever, whatnot, and vice versa for these women that's out here dating men. Oh, he beats his women, he drugs them and rapes them and does whatever he wants with them. These women aren't going to, but if they heard those stories, they're not going to go with this here person. Why? Because of their reputation. So let's look at the reputation of, first and foremost, governments in all of history, man. All right, what government hadn't been trying to kill and control and silence their own people for the benefit of their own self and to benefit the top elites, man? All right, this is going down in every society and history and every point in time. And for people to sit here and think that they live in such a good place where these things wouldn't happen, all right, they're only fooling themselves, man. And that's more proof that they're under this here brainwash. All right, because look at what goes on throughout, we hear all these stories. I heard a story today about this guy who was exonerated from basically being charged with the death penalty 2 years after he was already executed. All right, and this wasn't such a huge story because they was telling you how many different people they basically found out that they got a bad rap or whatever, whatnot, or they had bad investigations or this and that, but it was already after the fact that they executed them. All right, this was done by your government. You know how many times your government screws up and does things that so on and so forth. All right, let's jump into a couple scriptures real quick. Let me start here in Revelation chapter 13. I'm gonna start at verse 15. All right. It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. This here New World Order system that Esau is implementing around the world. It says, in the image, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. All right. And we understand this is Revelation 3 and 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. And that's the hour that we're talking about, dealing with this mark of the beast. So we just read that he was going to cause as many as would not worship the beast that he should be killed, But here it's saying that, this is the hour of temptation was coming to try the whole world, right? Revelation 2 and 10 says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, you're going to be suffering certain things. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison that you may be tried, and you shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I shall give thee a crown of life. So there's going to be penalties, all right, for not following after this here system. They have, one of the big laws that they're going to push because, according to this American government, they can't force the population to do anything, more or less to say, right, as a mass thing, But they're going to say, hey, well, for threat of national security concerns or whatever, whatnot, that we need to have this before everybody gets infected or whatever, whatnot. So this supersedes those things, or the World Health Organization, to be in compliance with them and so on and so forth. This is bigger than our one single nation's government, But nevertheless, there's going to be penalties for these things, And as we see these things being rolled out, first they're going to start shunning you from society, demonizing you, making you feel bad or like an outcast, all right, or stopping you from going in a certain place. And they tell you, hey, man, you're not going to be, we're not going to start refusing people. This is not going to be a ticket to be able to make it inside the football game or get on planes or whatever, whatnot. But you go out in society right now, try to go to your local grocery store without wearing a mask. So don't you get hassled, or they don't send all the management over on you or call the police on you. Try to get on a plane like that, man. All right. Try to go inside of a bank or anything like that without your mask on and see what happens, man. All right. So let's go back to Revelation 13. Verse 16. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. All right. And just off the sheer fact that he's causing all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive anything, all right, no matter how it's worded, this is being massively pushed out on the whole globe. All right. Everybody's going to get this here situation. All right. That should give you a clear shot, unless you blinded, but that should give you a full assurance of what the mark of the beast is, all right? Because as these phases are being pushed out, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, we know what it's going to end up with, man. All right? Just like how that once the caterpillar goes into a cocoon, a butterfly going to come out. So it's inevitable at that point in time, because this is just the course it's going to take, man. All right? And this is where we at right now, man. All right? And this is what people don't quite understand. Some people are still in the loop about certain things. You have some of these other Israelite groups out here trying to brainwash our people into all these other things, but hey, you have to, use common sense, man. All right. You see them enacting something that everybody has to take. Is, we can look at what they're doing over in the UK. The same thing is coming over here, man. You can look at the things they're doing over in Russia. The same things are coming over here. The same things they're doing in China. The same things coming over here. And all these nations have different ways of ruling and governing. But nevertheless, this one situation with this here pandemic and these jabs is going out worldwide. This is a worldwide standard that's going out, man. Not saying that's the mark of the beast, but this is one of the phases until we get there. All right. Verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. All right. So, hey, when you go into this, you're not going to be included into society, man. All right. Like I used to say beforehand, hey, it's going to be like an authentication token, man. All right. Just like so you can be able to get into here, get into there, so on and so forth. And this was before we had this here pandemic. You know, it's like, hey, man, you know, we don't take this kind of currency or the regular currencies that you know. So what's the point of you even coming inside the store if you don't have the authentication token that we have, all right, for you to be able to buy and sell out of this bad boy, you know? But nevertheless, as we see now with the pandemic or whatever, whatnot, they're not even going to allow you inside the store to begin with, you know? Then they're slowly but surely going to phase out your currencies and everything like that, all right, because you have a global collapse, all right? But then also what? Your medical records, because why? You know, these things are going to need to be accessible readily from multiple people on a daily basis. You know, whenever you go inside this store or that store, we need to make sure that you're medically sound to be able to come inside these places. And if you can't provide an authentication or verification that you have said medical attention, all right, you're going to be denied from these things, man. All right, so hey, this is going to basically again, just like, you know, they're telling you they're not going to force you to take these things, but just think about how society is now set up. How far can you get in society without having let's just say if you want a cell phone without having a Gmail account or an Apple account, man. All right, you need either one of these two things to be able to, if you want it, because basically you only got Android and Apple. I think you may have Windows phones still, but you know, you basically have one of these two systems, you know. But how are you going to be able to use, you know, they don't force you to have their sign in email or whatever for either one of these companies, but it's like, yo, we're not forcing you to get no email address. We're not forcing you to sign up for anything. But if you want access to this Play Store or this Apple Store to get any apps for you to use your phone like it's intended to use, you're going to need one of these. You see? So this is how this here society is going to be. No, we're not forcing you to wear or to have these here verifications to come inside of our store. It's just that, you know, you need this, you know, we need this here safety for our customers and whatever, whatnot. If you can't provide this, then, you know, we're going to have to deny you service. But we're not forcing you to have this. You can go choose another store out there if you want. Just like they tell you, hey, you can choose another phone service if you want, but it's only really these two companies, man. All right, yeah, I'm pretty sure they got a third wheel company somewhere where you never get no service, and it's so much of a hassle for you to be able to get anything that you just like, you know what, fuck it, I'll take this, man. All right, I'm pretty sure they're going to have some little stores that, you know, oh, we can go here to go grocery shopping and go get service here and there, but the meat's always bad, the food's always picked over or whatever, whatnot, and they do these things to kind of force you in a certain type of way to go and get this from somewhere else, man. All right. Verse 18, here is wisdom, let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 score and 6. All right, let me go from there to the book of, what do I want to get next? We'll go to Daniel 8, I think verse, well, let me start here at verse 21. It says, Daniel 8:21, and the rough goat is the king of Grecia, which was Alexander the Greek, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. All right. Now that being broken, where his four stood up for it, the four kingdoms shall stand out of the nation, but not in his power. All right. Which this is just going into the Edomites, because you have to go into Alexander the Greek, and then his four generals and so on and so forth in the Grecian time period, right? Now we know that kingdom pretty much morphed into the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire pretty much fell, and we're living in the revived Roman Empire at this point in time. All right, all being ran by Edomites, right? So this is still in their Edomite rulership kingdom. This is still talking about these Edomites, right? Verse where was that? 23, I'll just read 23. And a lot of time of their kingdom, whereas the transgressors are come to full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding a dark sentence shall stand up, and in his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. He shall destroy wonderfully and shall prosper in practice and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. All right. Again, we're dealing with these Edomites still, right? But we're fast forwarding into time now, right? And through his policy, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. All right. Now, you got to understand, you know, he frames mischief by law, man. All right. He goes through and writes certain things down in law. All right. And basically is used to destroy destroy people, man. All right. Just like, you know, they have plenty of laws, you know, for time's sake that I'm not going to really go into. But nevertheless, you have plenty of these here laws like, you know, like divorce and alimony and things like that for, certain things. So where a woman could just be like, oh, I'm not happy in this relationship no more. She's cheating or whatever, whatnot, or she just want to come up and get another man. She could just divorce her man, take half of what he got, go give this other dude and keep going on, so on and so forth. But a man can't really go and divorce a woman and take half of what she got because he ain't happy because she ain't doing so on and so forth. Put him on child support, drive a wedge between the family and everything like that, man. All right. And then have this guy working 2 or 3 jobs and only getting 20% of his paycheck. Come on now. All right. Giving these certain alphabet groups rights and things like that. If your 3-year-old decides he wants to sex change because he's being coerced by his teachers and his people at school or whatever, whatnot, if you don't agree with that or whatever, whatnot, they say that you're insane or unfit parent and they take your kids away, man. All right. Just like, hey, what's the difference if your little 3-year-old kid or 3rd grade-year-old kid is being coerced by some older adults on shooting up meth and heroin? All right, and if you tell that kid that it's wrong, you pretty much a good parent. Like, well, wait a minute. I thought he was smart enough to know what the hell he want and he don't want. Which one is it? Y'all can't be hypocrites. But nevertheless, this is the damn devil that we dealing with, right? Verse 25, all right, because this is what we're dealing with right now. They're implementing laws and different things right now, all right? This is pretty much going to destroy off massive amounts of people. Daniel 8 and 25. And through his policy, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand and shall magnify himself in his heart. Because, and by peace shall destroy many. So he's magnifying himself because, look, he's looking like, oh, look, I'm the savior. Look, there's this huge problem that's going to kill off the whole earth, and I'm going to be the one to stand up, and all nations are going to bow down to me because I'm the wise. I'm the smartest dude. All these other nations, as far as the non-Edomite nations, right, are being affected by this pandemic. But guess who's going to come to the rescue? The Edomites, So when people say, well, yeah, he's done all this demonic stuff on the earth, but he's also done all these great things for the earth. Because when you talk about these type of things, what has he ever done good on the planet Earth? Well, he did come out with the cure for polio and all these other situations or whatever. I'm like, how many of these diseases and things did he create and push out on the population and come up with a so-called cure and try to get praises for all these things, It's like a kid running through the house and knocking, tearing up everything in the house, making the house dirty and everything, and then cleaning it up like, look, Mom, look what I did. I cleaned the whole house. Yeah, but you also destroyed it. You don't get no points for that. All right? And through his policy shall he cause craft to prosper in his hand, and shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall stand up against the prince of princes and shall be broken without hand. All right? So, hey, this is the time, basically where we're speaking of, where, you're going to have these, this here final nation that's in rulership, all right, is going to actually fight with the Lord when the Lord returns, man. And if you can measure the time diligently based off the prophecies, you know that the Lord is coming in this here man's rulership, all right? Here's a simple question to find out who are the modern-day Babylonians. If you're smart enough to realize that Babylonians would be ruled at the end-all, be-all, all right? And you don't believe that the so-called white men are the Edomites, right? Well, just think about this. Well, look at the condition of the world right now and the time frame of the Lord, just looking and measuring the time frame of the Lord coming back. If the so-called white men aren't the Edomites and ruling in this here last kingdom, and this ain't Babylon the Great here in America, then we're going through all these trials and tribulations right now. And guess what? The so-called white man has to fall out of power, and some other nation has to rise up into power, dominate the whole world, all right, and subject them into under their tyranny, all right? And in this whole process, how these things would normally play out is that the people that's taking over power from the other people, all right, the first nation that's already ruling, all right, they have to be so depleted and everybody hates them and everything like that. And then all of a sudden some kind of savior nation comes up where a lot of the next people pretty much bring them in and hail them as heroes. All right. And they have to show forth that they're such great people or whatever, whatnot, until the people are waking up out of their drunken stupor and realize that these people don't have the best interests in their favor, Just like, for instance, in the time of who do you have? This happened plenty of times. Well, you had the Neo-Babylonian Empire, right? Or when you had the Babylonians and then the Medes and the Persians rolled in, right? Then there was a time where, the Medo-Persians was ruling. Well, who was it? The Babylonians was ruling, and I think when the Medo-Persians took over, and they also started taking over Egypt as well too. All right, then you had the Grecians come in when Alexander and them went over there. They pretty much was like held them as a champion. They didn't even have to fight them. They was just like, oh shit, we want y'all to rule over us because we hate these niggas, right? But then it came to a certain point in time after all that lust and everything start drying off that they realized like these niggas don't got the best interest for us either. We want these people out. Then somebody else has to come and take over or whatever, whatnot. So you just have to measure the time diligently. Are we really in it? Look at the condition of the whole earth, man. Are we really in a time frame where we can afford time-wise for the so-called white men to lose rulership on the earth and some other nation like the so-called Chinese can come in as a savior to the whole earth and rule and dominate the whole earth for the next couple hundred years or whatever, whatnot, then for them to go sour and everybody to wake up from all their drunk and stupor from that, and then all of a sudden the Lord's going to come. No, man, we're already at this here point in time right now in this here time frame in this society, man. All right, this is the time frame that the scriptures are speaking about, all right? And these are the people that are in rulership. The Lord said would be the last people in rulership before he came back to the return, all right? Let me read 25 again. And through his policy also shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and shall magnify himself in heart, and by peace shall destroy many, and shall also stand up against the prince of princes, and he should be broken without hand. Last one we're going to close out here in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. Well, let me start at the top, because I just broke this down. But of the time and the seasons, brother, you have no need that I write unto you, for you yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. And that's for the majority of these people. You know, like the scripture say, bless your eyes for see the things that you see. All right, because the majority of these people are still stuck and just hoping that sports will come back, hoping the clubs will come back, hoping that cruises and all these things will come back. So these are the people that's going to get caught off guard. But to the wise that understand these things is going on, they realize, hey, man, this is it, man. We can't go, the earth and the way that things are going can't go on much further than this, man. The mind states, let's just say, take everything, all the problems off the board that we have going on with the planet right now, and just leave the minds of the people so corrupted that they are now, man. All right, think about the people, the children that's growing up with the brainwashed minds they have, entitled to everything. They're not going to work for nothing, man. They're going to think that everything is supposed to be given unto them, man. All right, so who's going to be paying for the rest of these people, man, and supporting the rest of these folks and having children and so on and continue off with society, man, and so on and so forth. The hatred between men and women, they don't want to be together no more because of the fact that you have, like, the feminist movement and the MGTOW movement and all these different things going on and all these different things where everybody's minds is polluted, man. So just based off of the mind states of the people, they're all corrupted. All right, they ain't that much more time to go forth, man. All right, all the earth has been depleted, not necessarily of its resources, but everybody's been put on the fiat currency, and nobody really has none of the resources in their power no more. Only the elites have all this here, all the resources. And what do you think is going to happen? You think everybody with their no resources is going to come up against the elites and take all the resources from them? You know, you have these Edomites who say, oh, no, we'll band together. You know, the biggest army in the world is the American population. Like, yeah, but you don't have the technology that they have, man. All right, it's easy for the American military, who has far less soldiers than the Chinese military, to sit there and wage war against China and dominate the hell out of them. All right, because they got technology. They got one drone operator that can control up to 100-something drones and keep dying them things off and dropping missiles on your big groups of people. You can't fight with that, man. All right, so what are we here to do, man? All right, this is the end-all, be-all. Verse 3, for when they shall say peace and safety, all right, we have a cure for all these things to get everybody back to their norm. Then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Just like when a woman think, you know, she's pregnant and everything's going all good, and all of a sudden she's laughing and joking, eating popcorn and watching a movie, having dinner, out at the park with her kids, her friends, a family event, Thanksgiving Day dinner, and all of a sudden her water breaks. Boom. Suddenly, oh, shit, trouble. We got to get to the hospital. She's going into labor right now, man. All right, so, hey, when they say peace and safety, you know, everything is all good and so on and so forth. Oh, the end isn't coming for another while. We're about to go back to our norm. Hey, man, that water's about to break, man. It's time for that emergency room visit, man. All right. Verse 4, but ye brethren are not in darkness, that day shall overtake you as a thief. You are all the children of light and the children of day, and we are not of the darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as others do, but let us watch and be sober. All right, so going into all these things, man, let us continue to watch the times that we're living in, the news and everything like that, and these prophecies where some people are like, I don't want to watch the news. There's so much depressing stuff on and on and on. They don't realize that, hey, their jab date is right around the corner, man. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakak Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders, a great millstone that taught us his truth and that rule well. And citation, much love for you, Aki, pushing his truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth, and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Till next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.